You take a loss, then another, then another. 3 in a row, 4, 5, and something shifts inside you. It stops feeling like probability. It starts feeling personal, like the market is doing this to you, like it's targeting you specifically. Every time I enter, price reverses. The second I move my stop, it hits and then goes my way. It's like the market knows what I'm doing. You're not describing price movement anymore. You're describing an adversary, something with intent, something hostile, something that's actively working against you. And once you see the market that way, everything changes. You stop executing your system. You start fighting an enemy. You stop analyzing setups. You start looking for evidence of manipulation. You stop taking responsibility. You start blaming external forces. Here's the truth you need to hear. The market isn't hostile, but your brain is making it feel that way. And that feeling, that sense of being under attack, is destroying your ability to trade. Because when you believe the market is against you, you stop acting like a trader. You start acting like a victim. And victims don't execute strategy. They defend. They react. They survive. But they don't trade. Let me show you what's happening inside your brain. You take a trade. It loses. Normal. Expected. But your amygdala doesn't process it as normal variance in a probabilistic system. It processes it as threat detected, not a financial threat, an identity threat. I was wrong. And being wrong means I'm inadequate. So the loss isn't just data. It's danger. Now you take another trade. It also loses. Your amygdala escalates. 2 threats in a row. Pattern recognized. Environment is hostile. This isn't conscious thought. It's automatic threat assessment. Your nervous system is doing what it's designed to do. Detect patterns that indicate danger and activate protection. And by the 3rd loss, the 4th loss, your brain has categorized the market itself as the threat, not randomness, not probability. The market. And here's where it gets dangerous. Once your amygdala labels something as a threat, it starts looking for evidence to confirm that threat. You enter a trade. Price immediately moves against you. Your brain. See? It's doing it again. The market is targeting me. You move your stop. Price hits it, then reverses. Your brain. It knew. The market knew where my stop was. You skip a setup. It moves perfectly without you. Your brain. Of course. The market only works when I'm not in. None of that is evidence of hostility. It's evidence of confirmation bias. Your brain decided the market is against you. And now it's filtering every experience through that belief. Winning trades? Luck. Temporary. Won't last. Losing trades? Proof. Validation. I knew it. You're not seeing the market anymore. You're seeing your projection of hostility onto random price movement. And here's what makes this particularly insidious. Victim mentality feels like clarity. When you believe the market is rigged, manipulated, unfair, suddenly everything makes sense. Why you keep losing. The market is against you. Why your stops get hunted. Manipulation. Why setups fail? The game is rigged. It's not your execution. It's not your psychology. It's not your lack of skill. It's external. It's unfair. It's not your fault. And that narrative protects your ego. Because if the market is the enemy, you're not the problem. If the game is rigged, your losses don't mean you're inadequate. If they're manipulating price, your failures don't reflect your competence. Victim mentality is ego protection disguised as market analysis. Mark Douglas spent years studying this pattern. He called it externalizing responsibility. Traders who struggled always had an external enemy. Market makers, algorithms, hedge funds, they were against them. But traders who succeeded, they never talked about enemies. They talked about execution, about probability, about their own mistakes, because they understood something critical. The market has no awareness of you. It doesn't know you exist. It doesn't care if you win or lose. It doesn't move to hurt you or help you. It just moves. And when you personify that movement, when you turn neutral price action into hostile intent, you make trading impossible. Because you can't execute strategy against an enemy. You can only fight. And fighting the market is a fight you'll always lose. Here's what the market actually is: a continuous stream of buying and selling pressure, creating price movement. That's it. No intent, no agenda, no awareness of individual participants. Millions of orders flowing through systems, supply and demand finding equilibrium, price discovering value completely neutral. But your brain can't process neutrality easily. Your brain evolved to detect threats, to personify forces, to create narratives that explain danger. When something hurts you repeatedly, your brain asks, "Who is doing this to me?" Not, "What probabilistic forces are at play?" but "Who is my enemy?" That's survival programming, thousands of years old. If something attacked you in the past, it might attack you again. So label it, remember it, avoid it. That works for predators. It doesn't work for markets. Because the market isn't a predator. It's a system. But your amygdala doesn't know that. So it does what it's programmed to do. It personifies. Price moves against you, the market is attacking. Stop gets hit, the market is hunting you. Setup fails, the market is working against you. All of it is your brain trying to make sense of pain by creating an enemy. But there is no enemy. There's just price, moving, neutral, indifferent. Mark Douglas said this explicitly. The market is neutral. Your interpretation of the market is not. Every losing trade you take, the market didn't attack you. Price moved based on order flow. Every stop that gets hit, the market didn't hunt you. Liquidity was there and price moved through it. Every setup that fails, the market didn't betray you. The pattern didn't play out. This time, none of it is personal. But you make it personal by interpreting neutral data through the lens of hostility. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop asking, "Why is the market doing this to me?" Start asking, "What is price doing right now?" The first question assumes intent, assumes hostility, assumes you're a victim. The second question assumes neutrality, assumes data, assumes you're an observer. And observers can trade. Victims can't. Professional trader takes 5 losses in a row. They don't think, "The market is against me today." They think 5 losing trades within expected variance. Next setup. No personification, no hostility, no victimhood, just data, just probability, just the next trade. Amateur takes 5 losses in a row. They think, "Every time I enter, it reverses. The market is rigged. They're hunting my stops. This is impossible." Personification, hostility, victimhood. And once they're in that mindset, they can't execute because they're not trading the market anymore. They're fighting an imaginary enemy. And you can't win a fight against something that doesn't even know you exist. Here's what neutrality looks like. You enter a trade. Price immediately moves against you. Old interpretation. The market is attacking me. It always does this. New interpretation. Price moved against my entry. That happens. Is my setup still valid? Yes. Hold to target or stop. No personification. Just observation. You move your stop. Price hits it, then reverses. Old interpretation. They hunted my stop. The market is manipulated. I knew it. New interpretation. Price moved through my stop level. That's why I had a stop there, because price could reach it. Volatility happened. Next trade. No victimhood, just data. You take a setup, it fails, you skip the next one, it wins. Old interpretation? Of course. The market only works when I'm not in. It's rigged against me. New interpretation. One setup failed, one setup won without me. Both are probability in action. No pattern there, just variance. No hostility, just probability. That's the shift. From personification to observation. From victim to trader. From the market is against me to the market is neutral, and I'm interpreting data. And that shift changes everything. So, what does victim mentality actually cost you? Everything. First, it externalizes responsibility. If the market is the enemy, your losses aren't your fault. So you don't examine your execution. You don't analyze your mistakes. You don't learn from your errors. Because the errors aren't yours. They're the market's. You broke a rule? The market forced you to. You chased a setup? The market manipulated price. You moved your stop? The market was hunting you. All responsibility shifted external. And when you externalize responsibility, you kill growth. Because you can't improve what you don't own. Second, it creates learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a psychological state where you believe your actions don't matter. No matter what I do, the market will get me. And once you believe that, you stop trying. Why follow your rules if the market is rigged? Why execute carefully if they're manipulating price? Why stick to your strategy if the game is unfair? You give up. Not consciously, but behaviorally. You stop executing with precision. You stop caring about quality. You stop believing effort matters. Because if the enemy is external and unbeatable, effort is pointless. Third, it justifies self-sabotage. When you believe the market is hostile, breaking rules feels justified. The market isn't playing fair, so why should I? You move stops. You revenge trade. You overtrade. And you don't call it self-sabotage. You call it adapting to manipulation. But it's not adaptation. It's rationalization. You're using victim mentality to excuse behavior you know is wrong. And the more you do that, the deeper the pattern becomes. And here's the cruelest part. Victim mentality keeps you stuck because you can't fix an external enemy. If the market is rigged, what can you do? Nothing. It's out of your control. If they're manipulating price, how do you fight that? You can't. If the game is unfair, why keep playing? There's no point. Victim mentality gives you an explanation for failure, but no path to success, because the problem isn't you. So the solution can't be you either, and you stay stuck, forever blaming, never improving. Mark Douglas found this in every failing trader he worked with. They all had an external enemy, always. The market, the brokers, the institutions, someone. And as long as they had that enemy, they couldn't improve. Because improvement requires ownership, and victimhood is the opposite of ownership. The traders who turned it around, they stopped blaming the market and started examining themselves, not because they were weak, because they wanted power. And power comes from responsibility. When you own your losses, you can fix them. When you blame the market, you're helpless. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop seeing the market as hostile. Start seeing it as neutral. And stop seeing yourself as a victim. Start seeing yourself as responsible. Because here's the truth. The market didn't attack you. You executed poorly. You broke your rules. You let emotions drive decisions. That's not the market's fault. That's yours. And I know that's uncomfortable to hear. It's easier to blame the market, easier to believe you're being targeted, easier to think the game is rigged. But easy doesn't make you better. Ownership does. Every trade you lost because the market reversed on you, you entered without full confirmation, or you didn't honor your stop, or you chased. Every stop that got hunted and you placed it in an obvious level, or you moved it emotionally, or you used size that made it hurt too much. Every setup that only works when you're not in, you skipped it because you were afraid, or you took the previous one without full criteria. None of it is the market attacking you. All of it is you, your decisions, your execution, your responsibility. And once you own that, you get power. Because if it's your fault, you can fix it. If it's the market's fault, you're helpless. Victim mentality feels safe, but it's a prison. Ownership feels hard, but it's freedom. Next time you find yourself thinking, the market is against me today, pause and reframe. The market is neutral. I'm executing poorly. What specifically am I doing wrong? That question gives you power because it shifts focus from external enemy to internal execution. And execution is what you control. Mark Douglas said it best. The market doesn't care about you, it just moves. And your job is to execute regardless of how it moves. Not to fight it, not to blame it, not to personify it, just to execute your system. With discipline, with responsibility, with ownership, and if you want structure to kill victim mentality and build ownership as a reflex, the Winning Trader Codex has protocols for that. Link in description and pinned comment. But you don't need it to start. You just need to stop blaming the market and start owning your execution. That's the shift. From victim to trader. From hostility to neutrality. From helplessness to power.